Avenue Radio. .world.
Should have told her you were sorry.
Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for joining another episode of Real Estate and Money. We're so happy to have you. Hello, Violeta.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good.
We're in the same house.
Yes, we are. And we're wearing like the same clothes, right? We're wearing the same clothes in the same house. Yes.
Yeah. So, welcome everybody to Real Estate and Money on Rainier Avenue Radio .world.
And we've got a great show for you today. And it's like, it's beginning of the year. We're going into February now. And so now we're starting to get serious and what our intentions are for the year. So, so today, Violeta and I are going to be talking about how to look for the best real estate agent and how to look for the best loan officer. Besides our gorgeous pictures and information, we want to give you information, in case you are like in Michigan or you're in California or somewhere and you can't get to us or what have you. But these are some signs that we're going to talk to you about regarding finding the best loan officer and real estate agent. So anyways.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you want me to go first?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. Real estate agents. Okay. I'm with Coldwell Banker Danforth, and we have quite a few offices here. The Danforth group has 5 offices, but we're part of a network of, it's called Anywhere, we're part of Sotheby's and Compass and all the different Coldwell Banker, Bain, Coldwell Banker. We have commercial property management, Danforth. So there's a lot of agents, and how do you pick a good one? Well, you want to pick someone who actually shows that they care about you. And that caring for me starts with spending time with the client and asking them about themselves. Just everything about them. Who are you? What do you do? Where do you work? How many people are in your family? What are we looking for? Where do you want to be? Everything that you could possibly want to be looking for and that the agent should keep in mind. So caring means listening to all your clients' needs and expectations. Think about their situation and how you can best serve them. And that way you can both be clear on the journey where you need to be and all the things that they need to find the right home for them. And one of the things, let me see. How long have you been an agent? So, longevity is great if you can show that you've been around for a while and show different referrals from people, reviews, and how well you've worked with others in the past. And, if you're a new agent and you're working with a managing broker, that's great too, because then you have the expert and someone that really wants to learn, is eager to learn, and will probably be in your face a lot of the time because they have not a lot of other things to do, but they will take care of you always, the newbies, and they're a great source they're learning too. So what you're learning about agents, they're learning themselves, and will always have a supervisor for the first 2 years of their experience as a real estate agent. And then people will ask you, well, do you work in this area? I want to be in Bellevue on the east side. Well, yeah, if you don't know the market, you better get to know that market quickly so you can serve that client and wherever they want to be. And the price range too is important. A luxury agent, meaning selling homes that are in the millions of dollars versus, the moderate agents that are doing the market average of like 700 or less, 500 to 700. They may have a different they a different mindset and different way they do business than the luxury agents that are in those larger homes and people expect them to know what they're doing, obviously. And then let me see. Oh, schedule and availability. People tend to not want part-time agents because they don't know when they're going to be able to talk to that agent, when that agent will be available. Can you show us homes on the weekends? Or I'm done at work at 4:00. Can we go out and look at homes after that? And some agents can't for whatever reason, but you got to be flexible for your clients, especially if they have strange working hours and you have to show the husband a different time than the wife. Maybe you spend the day with the wife and then she will say, I want my husband to see these. So you have to be flexible to show both parties or everybody involved in the decision making.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I know a lot about you talk.
Are you talking, Tina? Your mouth isn't moving. You're frozen. And then just know your client's goals and expectations and their financial situation. And most of that will come from people like Tina. But referrals and positive feedback from people is great. If you have a way to show your website and show those comments to folks, that's even better. But I would say persistence is a good trait. Positivity is a good trait. And just being a good listener and really absolutely getting to know your client. Your client is first. You don't go into your first meeting saying, oh, I'm this and that and this and that. I've sold this. It's all about you. No, it should be all about them first and foremost. So is there any other thing I'm missing, Tina?
Well, no, I think you really hit the nail on the head.
Another thing is communication. People want you to call back, on their timeline. Sometimes they're unrealistic, but call back, same day if you could, or as quickly if they need your attention on something real quick. Try to get back to your people. Don't wait a day or two. That's not good. So communication for people is key also to a good working relationship.
Right. Yeah. So I know with me, when I bought my houses, particularly the one when I lived in Federal Way for like 18 years, that realtor there, I had some realtors that were just absolute fruitcakes. These women had me going to houses that weren't as nice as the house I had. And they wanted me to buy some cute little Rambler with like 900 square feet with some butterflies on it. And they're like, oh, this is so cute. You'll just love this. I'm like, get these women out of here, And I found we found an agent who actually was handling the open house for the house that we bought, and he was some young kid, like 26 years old, studying to be a lawyer or something. And this kid was so grounded, and he was just, why would you buy that house? If you look up, all you see is airplanes, don't you? He was going around saying, look, the kids in the neighborhood, they're crazy. You want your kids to grow up in a neighborhood with crazy kids? He was just so, to us, I was like, wow. This kid talked so much sense. He was so smart. And, of course, he called back on time, that sort of thing. But, he was just that type of a person where he's like, look, he was looking out for us. He was looking out for us. And then show us some silly cutesy house because they thought it was cutesy, but he actually listened to me. And so when I bought this house here in Colorado, it was a friend of mine, and he specialized in rental properties and that sort of thing. And I had about 20 realtor friends that are my best friends. And a lot of them got very, very upset with me because I didn't use them. But he was the only one that talked to me for 3 hours at a Halloween party. He was in a vampire outfit, and I was like dressed like Zorro or something. But he was like, "But Tina, when are you going to move? Well, why are you trying to move? Well, why? What are the reasons why you're trying to move?" And he just really got into my psyche and said, "Well, what are you doing Monday? Let's just go look." So he actually took a personal interest in me, and not that my other friends didn't, but it was the right place at the right time, and that worked for me. But you have to find the right person. If you spend your time wasted on a realtor who doesn't really care about you, doesn't really listen to what you're looking for, it's just a waste of time. But if you do go out with somebody that you trust, people love Violeta. They follow her to the ends of the earth. They love her. That's somebody who actually has got your back, and they're going to steer you away from things that are they're going to be not beneficial in the future. But if you have somebody who's just a good person and you really like, I think that's the best referral because they're going to have your back.
Yeah.
And they're with a reputable company. And I know I don't want to sound like, Coldwell Banker this or John Ellis got that. I'm not trying to say that, but I'm trying to say you do want to be with a company that has some type of muscle or some type of pull. If you should get in a situation where you're misrepresented or something goes awry, you do want to have a backing of a good company that you can rely on. So, Violeta's with Coldwell Banker. Been around for over 200 years. So there's something in the component of her being with a company like that has her back. So that's very important, I think. I think it's very
Yeah.
important.
And then on the reverse side, I partnered up with Tina because she has been in the business so long. She knows everything. She knows all the programs that are out there, and I totally trust her. So, when we got together to do real estate and money, who else would I have chosen? But her.
Yes. Yeah. There you go. No, but I mean, so yeah. So,
What else do people look for in a mortgage lender?
well, this is a very good question. So, mortgage lenders, there are a lot of things you want to look for, and I'll go off that list. But first and foremost, before you even go to a loan officer, you need to get yourself ready. And so there's different things you want to look at, and I think I'll send this over to Daniel real quick. But there's things that you have to work on so that your loan officer can do the best that they can do. And so Daniel, there's a list here. There's like a list of the top 5 things you look for in a mortgage loan officer. And it's basically pointing figures back to the client. The first thing you want to do is analyze your finances, your credit score. What's your credit score at? Do you have trouble in the past as far as credit is concerned? If you do, you may want to work on that first. But if you don't, great. If you know you've got great credit, then you can keep proceeding. Your debt to income ratio. If you owe everybody and your uncle money, it may be a hard time for you to get the loan that you want. So make sure that you're financially fit when it comes to your debt and your income. Don't go out there and buy 5 sports cars, and credit cards like Express this, American Express that. Make sure you keep your debts low. Also, your savings. A lot of times, you'll have companies that say down payment assistance. Down payment assistance does not equal zero down. A lot of people don't understand that. So you need to have your down payment and you need to have your closing costs, and you're responsible for the down payment and the closing costs. Now, there are companies out there that offer down payment assistance, and they will give you the down payment and part of the closing costs, not all the closing costs. But you still have to have money in your bank, at least $1,000 at all times. I have some clients that are $1,000 on Wednesday, and by Saturday they're $200. So you have to make sure that your finances are in order. So your down payment, your closing costs, you have enough money for the down payment and closing costs. So scroll down just a little bit, Daniel. So it talks about down payment assistance there. So there are that available. So you want to make sure you talk to a loan officer and talk about down payment assistance. And then it says here, your home buying budget. So, if you're making $150,000 a year, there's a certain threshold on what you can qualify for. And that means, let's say, from all your income sources, if you're making $80,000 a year versus somebody who's making $250,000 a year, W-2, there's going to be a difference in what you qualify for. So make sure that you do know your limits, what you're able to pay. If you're paying right now $3,300 a month in rent and you can afford that, that may be a good place to start as far as where a loan would be that would match the rental payment you're paying now. So if you want to go down just a little bit, it says know your mortgage options. So before even going to a mortgage loan officer, know a little bit about conventional loans, know about private mortgage insurance, jumbo loans, government loans. Be abreast of what loans are out there. And surprisingly, not all mortgage lenders offer FHA financing. Not all lenders offer VA financing. Mm-hmm. Not all lenders offer jumbo loans. So that's one thing you want to look for. If you think you may want to buy a house or $3 million or $2 million, not every lender out there is going to be able to provide that. So let's go down just a little bit. It says beyond your credit scores and debts, it talks about what if you're self-employed. If you're self-employed, that's going to be a whole new calculation. I've got some people making $600,000 a year. Their tax return says they made negative $27,000 a year. So when it comes to like self-employment, that's going to be a different echelon. You want to make sure you have a loan officer that can actually do self-employment loans. And I do a lot of them. I want to say a third of my clients are self-employed, and they don't report all their income because they can write a lot of things off because it's legal and it's business. So you want to make sure you go to somebody who handles self-employment. Housing finance agency. It says, to be with a lender that actually is part of your state's housing finance agency. So like with us, the Washington State bond, that sort of thing. It's important for me to be able to be signified and be with the Washington State bond. If you're in California, the California Housing Authority, or if you're in Miami, or if you're in New York, make sure that you do have a company that does have housing financial agencies provided so that you can qualify for the down payments in your area. Okay, so let's go down just a little bit more. I think, okay, I might stop right there. 5 types of mortgages. You can see a lot of these different mortgage companies that you go to. You can go up Mortgage Calculator, and they will pull up, if you want to purchase, if you want to refinance, you want a 30-year mortgage, and they will be able to help you find out what a good mortgage fee would, a mortgage payment would be for a dollar amount. So if you look at a house of $500,000, you'll be able to get on most of these lenders' computers, and it will say $500,000. You want to put $10,000 down. This is what the payment would be. So that is at your disposal. So thank you, Daniel, for that. Thank you for that. Now, once you're armed and you're dangerous with that, you want to find a mortgage lender that does have experience. This is not child's play. It's not child's play. And unfortunately, you need a license to do dentistry, to braid hair. You need a license. You need a license to be a barbershop. You need a license to sell dog treats. Okay, but it comes to your mortgages, the most important financial decision you make in your life. Sometimes they let anybody do it. Be some places, the bank, a lot of banks do not require an NMLS. Now, I had to go through, I think it was 2017 when I went through. This was an ugly test. I went to this test, and half of the people walked out, of the test. And I went through a stockbroking test. I went through all types of different tests. So for me, I was able to go through it. But it is no joke. This test has over 880 questions in it, and it's a national mortgage license. And so, people who are brokers that have an NMLS number like I have, you see on the screen there, we have to go through rigorous training. We have to do continuing education every single year. You want to make sure you don't walk into a place, some banks and some credit unions, they don't require a license. You can go from teller to merchant teller to personal banker to handling somebody's mortgage. Okay, now I'm not saying these people can't do it. Of course they could, and there are probably some really good people there. But if you've got some things that are tricky or whatever, you do want to look for somebody who does have an NMLS number. A lot of banks now are requiring their loan officers to have an NMLS number. So if they don't have a license, you don't know what they went through to be a loan officer, and they're playing with your money. Okay? Yeah. So make sure that they do have a license. Another thing you want to make sure is that they have all the different programs. So people like me who've been in the mortgage business 20 years, 30 years, 35 years, I want to make sure I'm with a bank. I know I'm desirable. I want to make sure I'm in a bank that offers FHA, VA, jumbo, bank statement loans, profit and loss loans, stated income loans, I-10 loans, hotel loans, church loans. I can do all that. Now, if I'm just working somewhere where all I can do is conventional loans and FHA, then something must be wrong with me, because I'm not getting all the business. I'm turning the business away. So you want to make sure you ask your loan officer, do you do VA? Okay. Do you do bank statement loans? Okay. Do you do this type of loan? And if they say, no, we don't do this, we don't do that, then stop right there. And I'd say just click. Because the thing is, I have resources. And so a lot of loan officers that have these resources, they're working with mortgage brokers. We have resources. So you want to go to a company that has every single loan underneath the moon. So whatever you need, they'll be able to get. So I always say, look for somebody who has that. Also, do you want to look for somebody who is personable? Usually I am not a loan officer. I'm a psychiatrist and a psychologist. That's what I am. People call up, they're like, yeah, I got this job, and my wife this, and my husband that, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just weeding through the sometimes I can find more income. Sometimes I look for things that I can write in a letter to make the denial overturned to an approval. But if you find a loan officer that is very personal with you and up in your business, that's what you want, because they're going to uncover things that can really, really help you. So make sure you have somebody that's very, very personable. Now, most of my loan people, they call me all day long. They call me 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. It's all day long. And so I don't mind. I'll just pick up the phone and I'll talk to them. So make sure your loan officer is not on a schedule. Some people, they'll say, at 5 o'clock, I don't talk anymore. I don't talk on the weekends. I don't email on the weekends. And that's not really, that's something that I can't do. I can't afford to do that. So you want to make sure you've got somebody who's always there to beck and call, But they know how to add 2 plus 2. They know how to add 2 plus 2 equals. I do the software. I can do the whole software by hand. I can do your closing costs. I can do it all by hand, and I know if $500,000, 10% down, and I can tell you in my head what the payment's going to be. If you've got somebody who can add 2 plus 2, and they have to go to the computer and figure it out, okay, no, you need to go to somewhere else.
Yep.
If you have issues with your credit, because student loans, or you forgot to pay off a car loan, it was repossessed, you want to go to a loan officer that will say, hey, your credit is at 508, but I think I can get to 625. You need to go to a loan officer who's got credit repair services or credit, rapid resource services. So you want someone that's all engulfing. Don't just go straight, hey, I want to get a loan, and go straight to your bank. That may not be the best.
No.
It could be. I mean, they may have the best rates, but if you've got any trouble with your credit, any trouble with overspending, or if you're self-employed, or you just came to this country, or you were newly divorced and you've never worked a day in your life, but you have the money for a loan, any of these weird offshoots, you want to go to a mortgage broker. You don't want to mess around with somebody who just does cookie cutter loans. So I hope that helps. Hope that helps.
And know that your real estate agent is not your loan officer. Okay, you gotta go to a mortgage broker like Tina. I just absolutely refuse to talk finances with my clients because that's not my world. I'm not the expert. She is, and I could give you wrong advice, and you could sue me, and then everything's all over.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the same thing too, V. I got people ask me, what should I put on the purchase and sell contract? And I say, I'm not licensed to do that. I cannot tell you what to put on the purchase and sell contract. That's something that your realtor does. So we basically stayed in lane. So this is a good point, Violeta. Violeta's like, don't have a realtor that doesn't stay in their lane. And with me, you cannot get a mortgage loan officer that tries to tell the realtor what to do. That's not their lane. But I mean, it's something because there's a lot of people out there, they just don't know who to go to. A lot of times you can go through your realtor and find somebody that's best for you.
Exactly.
A lot of these warehouses like ABC Depot, Loan Depot, or whatever. A lot of these big warehouses, I don't want to say names, but so-and-so mortgage or whatever you call 1-800, whatever, Shining Star Mortgage or whatever. These big warehouse companies, do not go there for a purchase of your new home. You're going to close late. It's not going to come through. If you get declined or something goes wrong, they're going to flip you out and give you an issue with decline.
Yeah.
Do not go. I don't go to 1-800 cut my hair to cut my hair. I go to the beautician down the street. You know what I'm trying to say? So these people, I'm going to call 1-800 Loans Are Us. Don't do that. Do not do that. That's a disservice. And a lot of realtors are like, oh, yeah. And a lot of times your offers, when it says loansareus.com is the approval letter, a lot of realtors are like, yeah, well, they're not accepting your offer. I don't understand. My offer was $10,000 above. And the seller's like, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not accepting that offer because of that loan, because of the loan approval. So, when you go to a loan officer or you have a loan approval, you don't want it to come from Loans R Us or some bank that is just kind of, you want to make sure that you get a good, solid loan.
Absolutely. Yes. And what we have in this country, say you want to buy something elsewhere and things are different in other countries.
Yeah.
Right. And Tina just had an experience with Mexico.
Yeah, I did. I had an experience.
You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, well, when you go down to Mexico for vacation, it's one thing. You're at the resort, you're running around, you're snorkeling, But if you're just going into the weeds, and stuff like that, I got sick. I mean, this is every time I go, I get Montezuma's revenge. I get sick, and that's not really a good thing at all. That's not a good thing. No. So it's like, but I just, I come here, the food refrigeration is something that we take for granted. The bathroom accommodations is something that we take for granted. And to be able to have hot water, to be able to have power when you need, I had no cell phone service, had no cell phone. And so the fact that I couldn't hit TikTok for 15 minutes a day really disrupted my day, but I couldn't, but I had business, I had people I wanted to take care of, and I couldn't do that from down there. So, there's just so many great things here. I think when it comes to vacation homes and that sort of thing, for me, I want something that I have the same amenities here as I do out there. If I want to go camping, I'll go camping. But if I want to buy a vacation home, it's going to be better than the house I'm at. You know what I mean? I mean, for me, because I'm glamping.
And for
I'm not
you, it's not camping, it's glamping.
Yeah, I mean, I need to go glamping, but I mean, I need to have, there's just certain things that you just need to have, and I got viciously bit by mosquitoes at a resort. And I'm just thinking, I can't, And I had off all over me. I had off. I was soaking it off. And these giant mosquitoes just got through and stuff. And you just get scared because of the health risk. So I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, we have a lot of amenities. We walk down the street. It's just a lot of stuff. I don't want to talk poorly about anything. I'm just saying we're very blessed here in America.
Right. And I had an opportunity to go to the Soviet Union back in the day when it was called Soviet Union. And there are places in Eastern Europe or even Western Europe, everywhere other than here, where in the Philippines, where you just don't get used to a lot of the things that they're used to. So, if you're looking for a vacation home internationally, you need to go and check out the area and just know what you're getting into. It's not going to be, the pristine home and all the nice amenities you have here. You might have a thin mattress. The beds are made different. There are bed bugs everywhere, or no refrigeration. That's one thing that bothered me in some areas of the world. It's just just know you're not going to be like being here. You need to bring your own toilet paper. Yeah.
You can't, some places you can't flush toilet paper. You know that, right? I found that out. Restaurants, hotels, condos, you can't flush the toilet paper. That's a huge thing. Even at the airport, that's a huge thing for me. So you just have to look at these things. I live in the Philippines, I live in Guam, I'm used to whatever, but it's just something you want to consider. So I was just so glad when I came home, I kissed my refrigerator. It was actually plugged in, and and it worked. We've been eating gyros and everything else since we've been home, but so I'm just saying, we're blessed to be here. We're blessed to be here.
Yes.
But
you can find lovely homes all across the U.S. It doesn't have to be here in Washington or in Denver. There's a lot of homes in the U.S. And as a matter of fact, my son bought a home in Chelsea, Michigan, just 30 minutes outside of Ann Arbor, Michigan. Beautiful. And that house, that's a little over $300,000. It's probably going to be about $600,000 to $900,000 here. Oh yeah, exactly. So why not go? Opportunity here, but I think we've got some announcement, V, before we have to kick off. Yeah.
Do you want to be okay? Month Museum opens at the Columbia City Theater next month, starting February 14th, Thursdays and Fridays from 3 to 7 p.m. and Saturdays and Sundays from 11 a.m. to 5 a.m. And make sure shows like this are possible by donating on Venmo at Rainier Avenue Radio or online at rainieravenueradio.world/donate through Shunpike. So please keep us going. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I think that's time, right, Tina?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Thank you all for joining us today on Real Estate and Money. I'm Violeta Strash with Coldwell Banker Danforth, and
I'm Tina Lombard with the Texana Bank.
All right. Thank you all. See you next week.